Welcome. Today's webinar is on making learning social with Totara Social. And so thanks so much for joining us today. My name is Dr. Tammy Frame. I'm the Chief Education Officer of eClass for Learning. This is my contact information. We are recording today's session, and anybody that signed up will receive a copy of the recording. If you have questions and you weren't able to join us today, feel free to send those to me and I'd be happy to answer them. We are using GoToWebinar as our webinar platform today. You should find on your little control panel a questions area, and you are able to submit questions. And I really appreciate questions during the webinars. They make them a lot more fun and interactive. Feel free to, you don't have to wait to the end to put them in wherever you have them and interject any questions, resources, comments that you have. If I don't know the answer, we'll look them up and send them out with the archive of the recording. So I love the interaction, so please feel free to do that. Also, if you weren't able to join us, you can submit them later too, and I'll address them too. eClass for Learning is a full solution e-learning provider, and we have a whole suite of services that can help all different kinds of clients with e-learning. So we have a variety of LMS solutions. We do course development, professional development, e-commerce solutions, hosting, helping marketing, selling of classes online, and training of the different software that we support. So feel free also to contact us about any of the services that we had. I just wanted to talk a little bit at the beginning about how Totara Learn and Totara Social are different. So Totara Learn is kind of an HR LMS system. It has a lot of HR components built right into the LMS and is great for things like compliance training, getting accurate reporting and tracking done, has built-in features like appraisals and 360-degree feedback and personal learning plans and all kinds of things. But I would put, I put a down arrow for that because a lot of the learning is sort of hierarchical. It actually is, a lot of the decisions would be made by the instructors, or you might have a compliance training that's already been created with quiz questions, let's say, that learners need to prove proficiency or prove that they went through the training, something like that. But somebody else is deciding the learning. Totara Social really complements Totara Learn, and you can have single sign-on between the two, in that it is much more organic type of learning. And the learning comes from the users themselves, and they create their own content and share it and collaborate on it without being directed to do so. So it's a very organic kind of way of doing things. And sometimes it's a little bit hard to explain what Totara Social is because it could be a lot of different things for a lot of different organizations. And it's really dependent on the users and how it takes off and what they want to do with it. Now, I have some examples of how I've thought of using it. When I work with Totara Social, I think of it a lot. There are a lot of similarities to LinkedIn, I feel like. There is a place where you can create sort of a professional portfolio. You can join groups. You can state what your interests are. You can post content like blogs and things like that. You could share with other forms of social media if you want to. So the reason I have the word internal, so you're thinking, well, if that's what it is, why don't we just use LinkedIn? is sometimes a company has information that is proprietary and they don't want to share with the whole world. Yet they would like a very social network kind of feel for sharing information across the organization and for people to connect with one another across the organization and share confidential things that maybe aren't confidential in the company, but that you might not want them sharing with the whole world. They might be projects that they're working on. So that's why I say sort of an internal LinkedIn. It can be great for kind of that talent management, for seeking who has what kinds of expertise within your organization. The next bullet is there are a lot of tools that you'll see that would make it great for project management. For instance, there's a to-do checklist that you can set up for different projects. If you've ever used Basecamp, it might be sort of like a built-in Basecamp. Totara Social is multi-tenant, and if you're unfamiliar with that means, is it can work with lots of different instances on the same instance that are partitioned off. So why might we want to do that? Well, if you're a company that does maybe consulting or works with other businesses, has a variety of clients, you can have a partition or a silo area for each client to be sharing and having project management going on. And each client then would not see other clients, and you can use it for timeliming things, for asking questions, for onboarding, for support, and it could be different for every client. So that might be useful. You might use it for documenting historical information. A number of my clients have asked about, are there ways that I know of that would allow institutional knowledge to be recorded? So the reason they want that is it could be very difficult if people leave the organization and they know how to do things, but they were the only one and there's nothing documented. And so that can be very scary. So can we archive and create institutional knowledge and record that and organize it and update it and things like that? So it definitely would work very easily for that. There are a lot of tools and content generation tools, and tagging is throughout the system that would allow for that. I also think it could work well as an internal help desk, as a sort of a portal where people have FAQs and you can list those and people could search for those or have them organized in a certain way. It might be good if you, in our company, we help a lot. We serve as a technical help desk for a lot of organizations on our products. And so when people call, they think they're calling our client, but actually they're calling us and we're assisting with their software, maybe login issues or whatever. And we have documentation for our help desk staff that helps them know how to answer different types of questions. Another way is to generate training resources. So I have a variety of clients that I help onboard and support with our different products, but different clients need different things and have different use case scenarios. So I can have a repository of different handouts and things that I've trained on and only pull the ones that are and share the ones that would be useful for that specific client instead of giving them the whole repository and having them overwhelmed, and even release those in an order that would make sense for them. So those are some of the use cases that I've come up with. But again, the use cases can be limitless and can be defined by the organization and the users themselves. And it's a very open, socially networked tool. So right now I'm leaving the PowerPoint, and I'm going to start walking you through and doing a demo of the Totara Social. And so the first thing that you see when you come into Totara Social is in kind of this main area. It's a lot like Facebook or LinkedIn. It's a wall. It's like a social network wall. And it kind of has what's happening with the people that you're connected with. So here I could put an update. I can ask a question. So it's very good for getting just-in-time support from others in the organization. And I can propose an idea and other people can vote on it or give feedback. So right now, I did a blog post earlier on different ways that we can make management tasks easier with Totara, especially with dashboards. And Floyd from my organization wrote a comment. And Sandra from my organization joined our help desk group. Okay, so it kind of tells me what's happening now. It has a very now kind of feel. Whatever is most recent goes on top, and people can like certain things. They can be watching certain things. They can share if the originator allowed them to share. And sometimes that can be with external sources. So when I wrote this, I said, by all means, feel free to share that. So Floyd and others in the organization can share it with their groups as well, which can help our content go viral. So that's kind of neat. Over here, you'll also see some things when you log in, such as your groups. You might see when you first come in, mine's 100%, but it might say 80% done of creating your profile. Anybody else that's currently online that you'd be able to social, that you'd be able to instant message is the word I'm going for there. So that is kind of what your home screen looks like. The next thing on your dashboard over the next menu is the content. So there are several different ways of content that you can create content. And so I kind of like the word contribute. Again, it's the users that contributes the content instead of having it pushed at them and the decisions made for them. So you can create sort of internal web pages. You can share ideas and get feedback and input and have people vote on it. You can submit a question that people might answer. You can write blog posts that could just be internal, or you could make them so that they can be shared socially with the people that are in your network. The to-do list would be sort of that project management, and you can upload to a personal file area, sort of like a Dropbox. So we'll start with pages. We'll kind of go through here. So here I have my profile page too. And here it shows my latest things. It shows my connections. It shows my pages, my groups, and the things I've recently created within the site. Okay, so that would be kind of one page. And you can edit the layout of that page too, sort of like a dashboard. Here, I made a page on creating forum posts because I know that that's something our help desk group often gets questions about. So I just put a little directions here. Other people can like it, watch it, share it. People can comment on it too. And when you create something, you can decide whether or not these things will be allowed or not. And maybe we'll create something in a little bit. So let's go to creating a page. You just name the page. You have a what you see, what you get bar where you can put in your content. Tagging is very important because you want to be able to search things for that institutional knowledge. You can also edit the layout and get quite fancy. So, do you want 2 columns, 3 columns, several rows? And then when you get to content, it's a drag and drop mentality. So you upload images and you can say, I want an image block up here. So I can say image. And then I can find my image from my images folder, let's say. And then I can set some configurations and so on. So now I have an image block. And I could pull over a media block or a blog block that would have recent posts from my blog, or a general block which has a what you see, what you can get, or a personal info block that has my personal information, and an external block with external feeds. So you could have an RSS feed, you could have things embedded from your Google Apps, for instance, and you can create these dynamic pages on the fly pretty easily. When we create a page, you can decide who is going to have access and who can edit it. And so one thing that you can do is create a secret URL. And what this means is that this is not available if I do that on the World Wide Web in the search engines. People would have to have this link in order to access it. So only people that share with the link are likely to find it. I could put specific people if I wanted to. I can also get rid of, if I don't like that link idea, I can delete it and not have a secret link. I can allow this content to be shared on social networks or, such as Facebook, Twitter, Google+, and LinkedIn, or not. I can allow comments. I could moderate comments, and I could allow it to be copied into different kinds of content. So we'll save that for right now. The other option next to it is edit and trash, okay, and you can copy here too. So you can create pages of content that are shared. Then those pages could be linked, for example, in Totara Learn or on social networks. When you want to propose an idea, I can put it like here, and then people can tell me yes or no and comment on it. When I set this up, I'm thinking about a new product that we might resell, and I'm kind of interested in what other people in my organization think. I put some tags on it, and I can determine who I'm going to share with it. I can upload additional files. I did not want that shared on social networks, so I unchecked that. But I did want comments from my team too. And you'll notice on the side too, as we add more and more tags, you can get a tag cloud on the side, which is kind of interesting too. So if I'm interested in Totara, I could see all the kinds of things that we have. So we have a blog post, we have a blog dedicated to Totara. Those are 2 things that we have. Yeah, so there's quite a bit there that you can do. Back to questions. Questions can be like an internal FAQ, and people can help one another out and help them. So I wanted to know about Moodle tours, and if we could use that, if we created one, would it show up on all new courses? So far, nobody in my organization has answered that, but they could. You can have internal blogs, which then you could publish and share on social networks too. And so here I have a blog post. This is the one that Floyd commented on. And again, you just click New Post, and you've got your what you see, what you get bar. So it's a very quick content generation. I can put the tags of what it's, again, who I'm going to share it with. Will I allow comments? Do I want it on social networks? Okay. The to-do list, I think, would be great for project management. I have one for a client that we're working on right now, and this is kind of our workflow of tasks that we're working on to get a proposal out to this client. And so that's kind of helpful when we can keep track of who's doing what. You also have sort of a Dropbox. So it's sort of like a convergence of a lot of social media. And so up here, I can have different folders and I can have different share permissions for those folders as to who is going to see and share those and have access to them. Okay, so I have this. Right now I'm not sharing that with anybody. I can unclick that if I don't want to, and I could have comments if I wanted to. Okay, so those are some of my files, and we can have folders as well. Okay, yeah, so that's the contribute and all the different types of content that people can be generating. The next one is kind of the social networking within your organization. So groups can be formed. Right now I have a help desk group and I have 3 members in it. And inside of a group, what you can do, this is for the people that help with the help desk, we can have discussion forums. So we could have different things that we're working on or questions. We can have pages, so these could be different things that they might have to answer, and they could be tagged and they could see them. And we could also have shared files with the group, and they can be dropped in here and people can look them up. So it can be very helpful as the group works and collaborates on things. Okay, I like pages too. They can be collaborating sort of like a wiki on different things as well. Maybe they're writing something together. So that can work really, really well. When you're creating a group, again, create group, the interface is really simple to use. You literally can pick it up in about 5 minutes. And so, you can name your group. You can say, is it open? Is it controlled? And then only with the consent can they leave or join? Can they request it? What roles do you want in there? Can they invite connections to join the group? Can you send a recommendation for joining the group? Well, who can edit the pages? All group members, everyone except ordinary members, only group admin. Will you allow submissions? I should check that one. Is this a publicly viewable group within the internal network, or do you want it hidden? Hide membership from the members so they don't know who else is in it. Do you want participation reports? Can it only be edited for certain things? Shared notifications and send out forum posts immediately. Okay. Oh, and I didn't set up a group name, so we won't really do this one. But yeah, that can be a very collaborative space for people within the organization, and I bet lots of people can come up with lots of different use cases. Here we see the people that I'm connected to. So I'm connected to Sandra. I can send her internal messaging. I can send in, I sent Floyd a connection request. He hasn't responded yet. I can also send internal messages to that as well. And I invited all 3 to my help desk group. Okay, and I can decide how I'm going to connect with people too. The very last tab over is the administration tab. So site admin, I really like the way that this is laid out. It's very easy to see. So we've got your basic things like you can configure the name, the language, and the theme. You can install new language packs. You can have some static pages like terms and condition or a home page that everybody sees. You can have licenses so that people can license their content. Maybe it's open for anybody to reuse, remix. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's fine as long as people attribute the original author. Um, you can manage links and files. You can have configurations for site pages, files, those kinds of things. Then there's a whole section on how you can manage your users. You can do bulk uploads. You can have single sign-on. You can suspend users. You can search for users. You can change their permissions. You can manage groups. And then this gets into the multi-tenancy where you might have several different instances that are sort of under the umbrella of your Totara Social instance. You can also have plugins and different external things added up there as well. So it's very kind of open source feel and work that way. If I return to my site, I think the only other thing we didn't talk about is the profile. So when you edit your profile, you can also have an extended profile, and this is more like the resume or the LinkedIn portion. And this can help you maybe search across your organization of who has different kinds of interests or expertise and might be good to connect with, or might be able to answer a question or share information that you're working on with. So that can work really well. So again, a lot of the use of Totara Social will be based on the users themselves. I would be happy if you would like a tenant of our Totara Social and would like to play with a tenant in your organization. We'd be happy to set that up for you so you could play with it and try it out. Just let me know if that's of interest. If you have any questions, feel free to put those in the chat or to send me an email if you couldn't join us in person today, and I'd be happy to go through that as well. And I thank you so much for your interest in Totara Social, and if I can do a customized demo for your group or give you more information or a tenant to play with, just let me know. So with that, I think I will end today's session and have a great afternoon.